Now, still sticking with the south of the continent, the controversial former South African President Jacob Zuma, who is currently serving 15-month jail term for contempt of court, has undergone surgery for an unspecified condition and is due to have further procedures carried out in the coming days.
Now, a statement from the Pretoria-based Department of Correctional Services said Zuma, whose arrest last month triggered a wave of protest and looting in parts of the country, will remain hospitalized close to his prison. Now, the 79-year-old former statesman was admitted to hospital 10 days ago and no date has been fixed for his discharge.
Now, with this, later this morning, let's join our South African editor and journalist Candice Bailey to give us the latest. Candice, good morning to you. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Candice, what do we know about former President Jacob Zuma's hospitalization and the medical procedure that he underwent?
Morning, Breakfast Central team. As it stands at the moment, we don't really know much. South Africa is in the dark about what exactly is wrong with the president. The president's lawyers, the state, as well as the president's foundation, the JG Zuma Foundation, have all remained mum on what exactly the procedure was that the president has undergone. We do know, as your earlier statement suggests, the Correctional Services Department have confirmed that on Saturday he underwent a surgical procedure. They wouldn't give us any detail, and that they said that he would be having more procedures later this week, but not giving us any further details. So as it stands, we don't really know what is wrong with the president.
Right, Candice, I mean, looking at a 79-year-old man, his state of health is very, very crucial. Now, he is an elderly man, but what do we know about the state of health in the run-up to his incarceration?
So what we know at the moment, and this stems from the court case, the criminal court case that he is involved in at the moment, that he was to attend earlier this week when it was postponed due to his ill health, is that there is a condition that he's been suffering, or let's say a procedure, that he's had to undergo, and he's been delaying it for 18 months. So in the next 4 days, the legal team of the former president will have to submit a medical report to the Pietermaritzburg High Court, where they actually provide us with more detail as to whether or what he's suffering from, what the procedure is, and whether or not he'll be fit to stand trial. So that will give us a bit more detail about it. But also important to remember one of the reasons why the former president, never attended the State Capture Commission was due to his ill health. And that was as early as November last year. In January as well, he had said that he cannot attend the State Capture Commission due to ill health. At that time, he also never gave us any details. So there have been reports of the president's ill health in the media over the past 24 months. Also to remember, at one point in his criminal case, a warrant of arrest was issued for him because he was in Cuba seeking medical treatment. So there are reports that he has been suffering from some illness. We just don't know what it is.
Right, Candice, what does this then mean for his court cases going forward?
So as we saw this past week, his corruption trial has been postponed to September 9th and 10th. And once that medical report reaches the High Court in 4 days' time, it will really give us further clarity as to how that trial proceeds. The court has said that they need to provide the report within 4 days so that they can evaluate the report and so that they can potentially appoint their own medical officer to examine the former president. As for his constitutional court case, that continues as is. His legal team are actually obviously taking further instruction from the foundation, and they are continuing with that. But the corruption case may be postponed further.
Right. Now, Candice, let's talk about hospitalization within the context of medical parole. Could it be legible, I beg your pardon, for medical parole with the clause in the medical parole that says that if an offender gets better, if his health improves, he will not go back to jail?
Indeed. So the issue of medical parole first came up when the president was incarcerated last month. And at the time, the Correctional Services Minister, Ronald Lamola, said that, he handles thousands of applications for medical parole on an ongoing basis, and that the former president would be within his rights to apply for medical parole if he so sees, if that is the case. There are various requirements that one needs to meet to get medical parole. One is that you need to be terminally ill, or they have to show that they've got a limited capacity for daily self-care within the facility. They also have to show that once they are released, there is a supervision arrangement that would be able to handle him. And they also need to show that the chance for reoffending is quite low. In terms of who makes the decision for medical parole, we do know that there's a medical parole board in South Africa that deals with medical parole cases, and that there's then also a medical parole review board that deals with cases. Because the former president is facing quite a small sentence of only 15 months, which is less than 2 years, it appears that the board may not have to deal with a medical parole application from him, but that it could be dealt with at facility level. The head of the prison could deal with it, and he could liaise with the case management committee. Whether or not the president now will apply for medical parole, will have to be seen. We obviously don't know what is happening with the president's health and where that goes from here.
All right, so we'll continue to follow proceedings, Candice, with the health of former President Jacob Zuma. We're waiting for the correctional facilities to tell us the state about his health, and since they said he's going to go under the knife, again, quite an embattled time for him, both legally and health-wise. Thank you very much once again, South African editor and journalist Candice Bailey, for coming on Breakfast Central.
Thanks, guys.
Right, more top stories coming your way on the program.